A young woman lowered her eyes as the world around her went quiet, her heart beating louder than the wind across the dusty road. And in a voice barely strong enough to exist, she whispered, "I'm not pretty." Those words were not about beauty. They were about years of being ignored, judged, and left behind. She waited for the familiar silence, the kind that always followed her honesty, the kind that confirmed her fear that she was never enough. Her hands trembled as memories rushed back, mirrors she avoided, smiles she never believed, and dreams she buried to survive. The cowboy stood there, unreadable, his shadow stretching between them, making the moment heavy and uncertain. She did not know this pause would change her forever, because sometimes one reply, spoken at the right moment, can rewrite a lifetime of pain. The story begins in a small, dusty town where days move slowly and no one notices the quiet woman walking past them. She feels invisible even in crowded places, like her presence has no weight. People look through her, not at her, and she has learned to accept that silence is safer than hope. She believes the world only values beauty, not honesty, not pain, and never the truth hidden behind tired eyes. Every step she takes carries memories of rejection, careless words, and moments when she was made to feel less than others. She rarely speaks because speaking never changed anything before. Her silence is not calm. It is heavy, built from years of being judged and ignored. Inside her chest, emotions remain trapped, waiting for someone who might listen without measuring her worth. She walks forward carrying the weight of that quiet day, avoiding reflections in windows and dusty mirrors because they remind her of questions she cannot answer. Faces around her blur together as she keeps distance from people, fearing their eyes might search for flaws she already believes exist. Every smile she offers feels borrowed, stretched thin over sadness, never reaching her heart. Hope feels dangerous, like a promise that will break her again, so she keeps it locked away. Inside her thoughts, fear speaks loudly, telling her that being truly seen would mean being rejected completely. She has learned to survive by staying small, by choosing shadows over attention, by convincing herself that loneliness hurts less than disappointment. Her chest tightens whenever someone lingers too long, and her breath shortens when kindness feels unfamiliar. She wonders how many versions of herself she has hidden just to fit into silence. Nights stretch endlessly as she replays moments where she wanted to speak but chose restraint, believing honesty would only expose weakness. She fears that if anyone looks closely enough, they will see the damage left behind by careless judgments and unanswered pain. Trust feels fragile, like glass already cracked, and she handles it with caution. Every step forward feels heavy because it carries doubt along with it. She questions whether being chosen is something meant for others, not her. The thought of someone accepting her truth feels unreal, almost foolish, yet it quietly refuses to disappear. Her heart aches for connection while her mind warns her to stay guarded. She stands at an invisible edge, torn between longing and protection, unsure which side will destroy her less. Memories whisper that effort never brought reward, only exhaustion. Still, something inside her stirs, restless and unresolved, urging her to believe that her existence holds meaning beyond appearance. She does not want admiration, only understanding, but even that seems unreachable. The fear of exposure battles the desire to be known, creating tension she carries silently. Each breath feels like preparation for rejection she expects, but cannot fully accept. She wonders if hiding has cost her more than facing truth ever could. The world keeps moving while she pauses, trapped within her thoughts, unsure how to step forward without losing herself. Her silence grows heavier, pressing against her ribs, demanding release. In that fragile state, uncertainty surrounds her, thick and suffocating, as if the next moment could either shatter her defenses or leave her unchanged forever. And she stands there, unseen yet deeply present, waiting without knowing what she is waiting for, afraid that the answer might finally find her. Something shifts in the air as a presence settles nearby, steady and unhurried, and she senses it before she sees him. The cowboy stands within reach, boots grounded, posture relaxed, eyes calm without searching for flaws, and that alone unsettles her. He does not rush to fill the silence, does not ask questions that pry, does not measure her with a glance. Instead, He listens, as if the quiet itself has meaning. She feels exposed without being examined, and the contrast confuses her defenses. His attention rests on her words, not her face, and she notices how his gaze stays level, patient, unafraid of pauses. Tension gathers because she cannot predict him, and unpredictability feels risky after years of patterns that always ended the same way. She waits for judgment that never arrives, waits for advice that is not offered, waits for the moment he turns away, yet he remains. The calm he carries does not demand anything from her, and that makes her chest ache. She wonders why he is different, why he chooses presence over opinion, why he treats her truth like something valuable rather than inconvenient. Her thoughts scramble to protect her, warning that kindness often hides an edge, but his stillness refuses to sharpen. He hears what she says and also what she cannot say, and the realization tightens her throat. For the first time in a long while, she feels heard without being corrected. The space between them holds weight, not pressure, and she feels a fragile pull toward honesty she has avoided. He shifts slightly, giving her room, signaling safety without promise, and the gesture lands deeper than words. Her fear tests him, searching for cracks, but his composure holds. She senses that he has known hardship without letting it harden him, and that possibility stirs curiosity she tries to bury. The moment stretches, balanced on a thin edge, where one wrong move could send her retreating, yet he does not move wrong. He allows her to exist as she is, unpolished and unsure, and that acceptance challenges everything she believed about worth. Her heartbeat slows, then stumbles, then steadies again as she realizes she is not being evaluated. Suspense builds because this gentleness feels powerful, because it could change her, because change requires courage she is not sure she owns. She feels the urge to speak rise like a tide, carrying words she has hidden, and the fear of releasing them shakes her hands. He remains attentive, giving time its full shape, and she understands that his difference is simple and rare. He listens to honesty as if it matters, and in that quiet recognition, the wall around her begins to thin, not broken yet, but finally willing to bend. Her breath catches as the weight inside her finally finds a voice, and she leans forward slightly, eyes lowered, letting the truth slip out in a whisper that barely survives the air. I'm not pretty. The words fall between them and settle heavily, carrying every doubt she has ever believed. Time slows as she braces for the familiar outcome, the subtle shift, the polite withdrawal, the quiet confirmation that honesty costs too much. Her shoulders tense, prepared to shrink, prepared to apologize for existing. The pause stretches, thick with uncertainty, and her thoughts race, telling her she should have stayed silent, telling her she has ruined the moment. Then the cowboy speaks, not quickly, not loudly, but with a steadiness that feels intentional. That's fine. I need honest, not fancy. The sentence lands with force, not because of volume, but because it breaks every rule she learned to live by. The meaning ripples through her chest, striking places she guarded carefully. She blinks, stunned, as if her mind cannot translate what her heart already understands. No correction follows, no reassurance wrapped in false praise, no attempt to soften reality. He accepts her words exactly as they are, and that acceptance feels overwhelming. Her pulse surges, then steadies, as something deep inside shifts position. The tension she carried loosens, replaced by a strange warmth that feels unfamiliar yet grounding. She searches his face for hidden intent and finds none, only clarity and calm. The simplicity of his response echoes loudly, challenging years of belief with a single honest preference. She realizes he values truth more than appearance, substance over surface, and the realization shakes her carefully built defenses. Her throat tightens as emotions press forward, uninvited and intense. She feels seen without being exposed, chosen without being measured. The moment sharpens her awareness, making every sound distant, every detail vivid. She senses the gravity of what just happened, knowing this exchange cannot be undone. Fear and relief collide within her, creating a powerful surge that threatens tears she refuses to release. His words do not promise safety, yet they offer respect, and that difference matters more than she can explain. She stands still, absorbing the impact, aware that something irreversible has begun. The silence that follows is not empty but charged, holding possibility she never allowed herself to imagine. She understands that honesty did not push him away, it drew him closer, and that truth reshapes her understanding of worth. In that instant, the story of herself that she carried for years cracks, and through that opening, a new meaning quietly enters, strong enough to change the direction of everything that comes next. Something inside her loosens quietly, like a knot finally giving way, and she feels a warmth spread where heaviness once lived. For the first time, value settles into her chest without condition, without effort, without performance. Her pain is not brushed aside or reshaped into something easier to accept. It is acknowledged as real, and that recognition steadies her breath. She stands taller without realizing it, shoulders easing as shame slowly releases its grip. The fear that once guarded her begins to retreat, confused by gentleness that does not ask for repayment. Her eyes lift slightly, catching light she had long avoided, and that light reflects a quiet strength growing inside her. Hope arrives carefully, not rushing, not demanding belief, simply staying present long enough to be trusted. She feels emotions surface that she thought were lost, tenderness, curiosity, a quiet strength that surprises her. The world around her seems sharper, colors deeper, sounds clearer, as if clarity has returned after years of fog. She realizes she is not being fixed, only accepted, and that distinction matters more than comfort. Her heart, once guarded by layers of doubt, opens a small space for possibility. She senses healing not as a dramatic shift, but as a steady alignment, like finally standing where she belongs. The silence between them no longer feels threatening, it feels supportive, allowing her thoughts to breathe. She notices how her hands stop trembling, how her jaw unclenches, how her body responds to safety she never expected. Each second builds on the last, creating a fragile but growing foundation. She understands that being seen does not always mean being judged, and that realization softens memories that once felt sharp. The shame that shaped her choices begins to lose authority, replaced by a gentle confidence that does not need proof. Her eyes shine not with excitement, but with relief, the kind that follows release from a long-held burden. She feels gratitude without obligation, connection without fear, and strength without armor. The change is quiet yet undeniable, reshaping how she views herself in this moment. She does not rush to define what this means, choosing instead to remain present with the feeling. Healing does not erase the past, but it reframes it, turning wounds into understanding rather than limits. She recognizes that worth does not require approval, only truth, and that truth has already been honored. Her breath deepens, steady and calm, as she allows the shift to settle fully. In this space, she begins to believe that she can move forward without hiding, that she can exist without apology, and that the light returning to her eyes is not borrowed but finally her own. She stands at a fragile crossroads where every instinct argues at once, and the calm she feels begins to tremble under pressure. Trust asks her to step forward without guarantees, while fear urges retreat toward familiar loneliness. Her mind lists old lessons learned through pain, reminding her how hope once betrayed her, how belief made loss sharper. Her body reacts before thought, muscles tightening, pulse quickening, as if preparing to escape. Yet another voice rises quietly within, steady and persistent, telling her that running has never protected her, only delayed the hurt. The desire to be accepted presses against her ribs, warm and insistent, daring her to imagine a different ending. She studies the space ahead, aware that choosing trust means risking disappointment she may not survive unchanged. Doubt circles her thoughts, warning that people often reveal kindness briefly before withdrawing it. She weighs silence against honesty, safety against growth, retreat against courage. The tension sharpens as seconds pass, stretching the moment thin. Her breath becomes shallow, then steadies as she forces herself to remain present. She realizes that walking away would be easy, almost automatic, but staying requires intention she has rarely claimed. The fear of getting hurt rises vividly, painting scenes of rejection she knows too well. At the same time, the pull of acceptance strengthens, offering a glimpse of connection she has always wanted but never trusted. Her heart feels caught between two truths, both demanding loyalty. She senses that this decision will echo beyond this moment, shaping how she meets the world afterward. The air feels heavier, as if waiting for her choice. She imagines the relief of retreat, the numb comfort of isolation, and recognizes how small that life feels now. She imagines trusting, opening herself to uncertainty, and feels both terror and excitement intertwine. Her hands curl slowly, grounding herself as she listens inwardly. The quiet around her magnifies the stakes, making every thought feel louder. She understands that pain is possible either way, but meaning may not be. The tension peaks as she accepts that there is no perfect option, only an honest one. Her shoulders square subtly, not in defiance, but resolve. She does not move yet, but the shift inside her signals readiness. In this suspended moment, she learns that courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to act despite it. The choice waits patiently, demanding clarity rather than haste. She stands still, heart racing, aware that whatever she chooses next will alter her path, and that realization sends a final surge of intensity through her, sharp and electric, as the moment reaches its breaking point. She takes a deep, steadying breath, feeling the weight of fear lift as she chooses honesty over hiding, allowing herself to exist fully in the moment without pretense or apology. The cowboy walks beside her, not ahead, his presence steady and grounding, as if silently promising that she will not face the world alone. Every step she takes feels lighter, as though the burdens of doubt and shame are slowly falling away, leaving space for something she has long forgotten: trust. Her eyes, once clouded with uncertainty, now glimmer with hope, reflecting the quiet strength growing inside her. She senses that this choice, small yet profound, will ripple through her life forever, shaping who she becomes and how she loves herself. In that shared silence, she finally understands a truth that had eluded her for years. Real beauty is not seen. It is felt, and it lives in courage, honesty, and the quiet recognition of one's soul by another.